Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Dr. Glenn Vo, and I'm super excited to have our guest, Diya Liu. She's an attorney, she's an investor, she's an influencer. She's got all the checks, all the boxes there. But first of all, thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So let's for those who don't know who you are, which there's not that many people, right? Everyone knows who you are. But for those who don't know what you do, who you are, just quickly explain to everyone what you do.
Hi, everyone. So I started out as a double major in chemical engineering and biochemistry. I graduated with those degrees at UT Austin. And then I went to law school and then I practiced patent litigation for about 5 years. And then I just decided that being an attorney and working from 8 a.m. to 12 at night was not the life for me, even though I love my colleagues. And I looked into the financial independence movement, and that's really where I got started with real estate investing. I moved back to Austin to get started with real estate from New York City. And then I just really focused on short-term rentals, which are Airbnbs, VRBO, etc., vacation rentals, whatever you want to call them. And then I actually went bigger and started investing in hotels.
Oh, well, I mean, so guys, first of all, if you're not impressed by that, I don't know what world you live in, but I have to ask you something. As a fellow Asian here, I have to ask you, when you went to your parents and said, I'm not going to use my degree and I'm going to do something else. I'm actually going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to, get into real estate. How did they react when you broke the news to them?
So I actually didn't tell my dad specifically. I told him I'm thinking about quitting to do real estate full time, and he just basically said, "What a waste," and nobody respects a landlord. Everyone respects an attorney, and I was kind of thinking I don't think anyone really respects attorneys either. And so that's really my parents' feelings about it. But they didn't really want me to go to law school either. They wanted me to be a research scientist, which is what their golden grail was. So going to law school was already a disappointment initially to them until they realized, oh, this is actually pretty cool. So hopefully eventually they'll also feel the same way about real estate investing.
Well, and let me ask you that, because you've had so much, not only so much massive of success doing real estate investing, but also impacting so many people's lives, right? With all the education that you offer. Have they seen that? How do they feel about that? Seeing some of that success, or have they not turned the corner yet?
I would say they're hesitant, but they're starting to trust me more on for example, they are letting me transform their former home into a vacation rental right now as we speak. So hopefully that will seeing some of the revenue from that particular transformation, and the AirDNA numbers are showing that they will make over 6 figures on this one house. Just having that probably will change their mind more than anything. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for sharing that story, because whether you're Asian or whatever demographics you're in, we all can relate to, there's the traditional way of having a career and making money, and there's the not so traditional. And again, the not so traditional doesn't mean that it's not less valid. It's just people don't understand that. So I think we can all relate to our parents wondering, why are you getting into that? Now, for those who are watching right now and they're thinking, it sounds like a great idea. I'm working this 9 to 5 and I want to do something else down the line. I mean, how do you tell those people, how do you get started? Where do you start? What's the best way when they're kind of thinking about getting into real estate?
Well, I think for me, I think the if you already have a W-2 job that's relatively consider a good job, I guess. The easiest way is just to get started by either house hacking or just buying a single family to all the way up to a fourplex as your very first rental property. Whether you're buying that as a house hack or you're buying that as a rental property depends on if you're in the high cost of living area or not. You might have to look elsewhere aside from where you're currently living in, and that's where I would make that determination. And for me, I'm biased. I do short-term rentals. I think short-term rentals are awesome. I think they cash flow 3 to 4x at least more than long-term rentals. And so I would say that I would buy somewhere where you can short-term rent legally. And I would get started that way. And just the easiest way to get started is just to analyze the deals well and to reach out to other folks who are doing what you're interested in doing. Take courses, or it's to network, whatever method works the best for you. That's how you get started.
So, being that you're from the Austin area, how is that, and I'm just out of curious for myself, how is the Austin market for short-term rentals? How's it? Is it really good? Is it going up? Is it going down? Like, just evaluate the Austin market.
So Austin, I've honestly, even though I lived there on and off for the last 20 years or so, I will say that I haven't really invested in Austin as much as people probably think I would have, just because Austin does have really strict short-term rental regulations. And so because of the short-term rental regulations, I just have invested outside of Austin where I don't have to worry about short-term rental regulations. I would say the Austin market right now, because of where we are in 2022 and all the interest rates, I think a lot of people are speculating that, either way of the spectrum in terms of, Austin market's going to crash or Austin markets continue to go up. So nobody really knows right now, but in terms of vacation rental markets, I tend to focus on markets that are 2 to 3 hours driving distance outside of major areas like Austin, like Dallas, like Atlanta, just because that's where a lot of folks can have a quick weekend getaway.
Yeah. No, that's great insight there. And what markets in particular have been really good for you? Like, if you can disclose some of that, like what particular towns, areas that have been, hey, this has worked really good for you. Now, again, with that being said, I'm sure it works. Things are different for everyone, but for you, what are the areas that have been really good for you?
I feel like this is, so I never really focus on a single market for me. Like I mentioned, my tactic really is just to try to find these 2 to 3 hour or less towns outside of major metros. But aside from that, I really just think that it's just a matter of finding the right deal. Now, once you have that particular metric, I've found really, really great deals and really, really bad deals in pretty much every single market that I've analyzed. And the hotel deals that we're buying at way below market rates usually as well. So, if I'm able to get $162,000 condo that's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, less than a block away from the beach, I'm probably going to buy it. It doesn't matter what state it is. As long as I can find the systems and the cleaners and the management for it, I'm probably going to buy it.
Yeah. So again, so much great information right here. Let me just switch gears a little bit here. Let's talk about some of the mistakes that you've made, right? That you feel comfortable disclosing. What is something a mistake you made, and what did you learn from it when it comes to your real estate investments and the short-term rentals that you are so passionate about?
I think the first mistake I made when I started out with real estate investing is just hiring the wrong realtor. I think that, most realtors, they are there to make money from the transaction, and they do usually also have your best interest in mind, but there's competing interests there, right? So I think having a third opinion in these situations, if you're buying a short-term rental, is very, very important. So not just your realtor, who may or may not know about short-term rentals investing, even if they have short-term rentals, which they can be a really, really great resource for you when you're starting out. I think having a third opinion to say, hey, does this deal really pencil out or not, is a really, really great takeaway that I personally learned from that, which is why I also offer consulting for people who are starting out. I felt like personally I would have vetted my deal a lot more carefully starting out.
Yeah, and speaking of the consulting, I mean, how often do you sit there and just think, man, I wish I had someone hold my hand through this and consult? How beneficial would that have been for you, having someone to do consulting and walk you through these things?
I think it would have been really helpful. When I started out, there were a lot of rental arbitrage courses, which, for those of you guys who don't know what rental arbitrage is, basically renting out, signing a lease for a year or 2 years, an apartment complex or apartment, and then basically re-renting that out on Airbnb and VRBO. But there wasn't really a lot of coursework out there that was about buying short-term rentals and analyzing those deals, and that was what I struggled with. And so that's why I started teaching that content once I got the hang of it, and I realized, okay, these are all the potential downfalls that you have. And then same with hotel investing. When I got started investing in hotels in like 2 years ago, basically was when I really started my journey and in hotel investing. And I just looked high and low for hotel investing courses, and there really wasn't any out there specific to hotels. There's a lot of apartment, multifamily investing courses out there. At that point, there was a lot more short-term rental courses out there, but there really wasn't anything on hotels. And so that's also why it prompted me to start my hotel investing mastermind.
So let's just dive right into that. So again, we're so lucky that there's actually more resources now on this topic, something that you're helping so many people out with. Talk about your program and who's that geared towards it. That's someone with some experience, no experience. Can someone walk in with no experience at all? And talk about as far as like what they're gonna learn working in your programs, and what kind of programs do you have?
Yeah, so I have tier 1, which is basically my shorthand for saying these are brand new real estate investors in the hospitality space. They might not be brand new real estate investors. They might already have long-term rentals. They might already do flips. They might already do wholesaling, but they're completely brand new to the concept of short-term rentals in general. And so that is one program. And then we have tier 2, which is the shorthand way of saying these people are a little bit more advanced in the hospitality space. They have at least 2 short-term rentals or more under their belts, and they're ready to take on bigger deals, whether it's multifamily short-term rentals, whether it's RV parks that can be used for outdoor hospitality, or it's for hotels and motels. Now, a large part of our content is focused on hotels and motels, but in the past, we've had RV park specialists come in and talk. We've had folks who converted long-term rental multifamilies into short-term rentals as well.
Yeah, and so, if people want to get more information about this, what's the best way? What's the best way to connect? Obviously, you're everywhere on social media, but like if they want to learn more about these programs, what's the best way?
They can reach out to me via social media or via my email. It's DIYALIU@gmail. And then on Instagram, everyone go and pull out your phone and follow me at Diya, DIYAESQ. And of course, in the show notes, you'll have additional links as well to the courses.
So, before we log off here, let me ask you, what are you really excited about here when it comes to short-term rentals and hotels and whatnot? What gets you really excited about the future when it comes to this industry?
I just think that there's so much opportunity in the hotel space. Now, I feel like the hotel space is very, very ancient in terms of their technology and what they use. You usually see the mom and pop hotel operator, they live in the hotel. They don't really have online bookings. You have to call them to get a booking. You still have the physical key that when you check in, you have to return the physical key when you check out. So it's just a very antiquated, it's really just, I feel like outdated, technology. And so I'm really passionate as someone who's really passionate about traveling myself. I love the fact that we are making travel easier and more efficient. So that's, and then also more beautiful spaces as well, because I really care a lot about good design.
Well, I will tell you guys this, if you are not following her on social media, you need to. The content is not only informative, it's pretty entertaining too. I've seen some posts where like the before and after design, I'm like, I can't believe, you did that with that particular space. It's almost like you're an interior designer too. But again, there's all these things. Follow her, look that up, look at the show notes again. So Diya, again, thank you so much for being on. And guys, we will definitely have her back for multiple episodes, but thank you so much for jumping on. And guys, we'll see you next time.